Now, I've seen over the course of these several years of Carmelo Anthony, my entire childhood playing basketball has been noticed has been involving Carmelo Anthony, especially my time I lived in New York. So obviously, a lot of hype came when Carmelo Anthony came to the Knicks. Then shocker when he got traded to the Thunder. Spent had one terrible season, putting up role player stats after being a multi-time All-Star, a 10-time All-Star, freaking then averaged 13 points over playing 10 games in just 1 month as a Houston Rockets and still accumulated like 1,000 points. Not even being the premier option. And he still averages 24 points for his entire career. And he shot a terrible. This is from the three. 32% for a man that's constantly shooting as much as Carmelo Anthony. 32% from behind the arc and 40% from fucking field goal wise. That's pretty poor in my opinion over his time. Even when he was a ball hog in New York, he's worse. I mean, he was better, but it was only by an accumulative margin because the more his ball usage went up when he went to New York from his time when he was shooting a passable 49% to a 45% from field goal range, it's still not that bad than going straight to a 43 a final few years in New York and then just shooting abysmal 40%. And imagine going to 36% next time you play and you only play 10 games. And you only started two of them. That's the history of Carmelo Anthony. As much as I want to give him some credit and be like, yes, he's still one of the most premier scorers in his draft class over a 15-year career. He's obviously a respectable player still for his play style and some of his accomplishments. You can be like, but he won numerous gold medals. If you haven't been to a Eastern Conference final, or at least a detrimental part for a team, I would rather pick Zaza Pachulia than Carmelo Anthony. And Zaza Pachulia put something on the team like the Pistons and the Warriors because it has a defensive centerpiece, and Zaza can also get in there and finish around the basket and grab rebounds and put back scores. And yes, he's a renowned dirty player, but I'd rather have a dirty player than an overall just simplistic shoot first post up scorer that would be good in 2005. He wouldn't be good in 2019. Hook, line, and sinker. I don't care about if Brooklyn wants them all because he has a history with Kyrie and KD. I don't care about that. If they're doing this, they're building themselves a bigger hole. And now I feel like it's going to happen because Wilson Chandler is suspended for several games, and Kevin Durant won't come back until like next season. So obviously they're out of the picture, and they don't have a lot of notable small forwards or power forwards on their team, other than Jared Allen that specifically plays center, or Tarion Prince that they just got off that trade with the Atlanta Hawks. So obviously, I don't know what to do with this. This is out of Brooklyn Nets' hands. I don't know what's going to happen. This offseason has obviously been one of the most crazy parts of the NBA in years. Hard to remember. Bigger than LeBron James hitting the Miami Heat. The time Kevin Durant literally has been the most hated player after joining the Golden State Warriors and winning 2 NBA championships and Finals MVPs. This is big. This is a big offseason. A lot of teams have a lot to prove, and I'm super excited for this NBA season, as well as football coming back in 30 minutes for college football. We have another week because last few days ago it was the final preseason week, so we are getting college football, NFL, NHL back in a few weeks, and we are getting in a couple like a month or a few weeks, like the last week until September, and I mean the last week of September, and maybe in the NBA in October. So this is gonna be one of the biggest, the most unpredictable seasons because you don't know who's gonna do well at all. This is incredibly scary. You might be thinking that the Lakers are going to do well over the course of this entire season. It might be the Warriors going to do well, even though they just lost a primary part of their core and scoring depth and their bench. Because they came from having Nick Young, Andre Iguodala, Zaza Pachulia, Sean Livingston, all on their depth chart, and Quinn Cook and Jordan Bell, all in different teams now, for a bunch of barely any no names or reasonable role players on the rebuilding teams. Literally. Trey Burke. Wow. That young center from the Kings. Oh man. I'll go more on the Warrior and what the fuck happened later. But still, we're still on Carmelo Anthony. I don't know what Carmelo's idea of what he wants to do. It's obvious that he still has an ambition for playing for the NBA, but not even being picked for the Team USA game for the Team USA. Obviously, because you haven't played a fucking smidget of basketball since last November, and you're obviously out of touch, and people don't want to get you because you seem like a cancer. And for your overall play style of you juking up the court and people distributing the ball over a half-assed fast break, and for you to hit those 9-foot jumpers and barely averaging at least a smidget of a 45% from field goal range, fuck behind the arc because Melo hasn't been the greatest from behind the arc. I'd rather not have him on another NBA team, in my opinion. It's just my thoughts. I have nothing against Carmelo Anthony. My, I go strictly off basketball wise. I don't judge the guy as a person. For a guy to be a perennial all-star and a guy to literally have that much inspiration that have a lot of fans support him, it sucks to hear that a great player like Carmelo Anthony doesn't play another tip off of basketball. It sucks for anybody, especially a Carmelo Anthony fan. But you gotta give it some thought. Are you sure a guy like Carmelo Anthony is actually still going to be playing in the next 2 years? He's already like 33 years old, 34? And you suspect him to be playing at levels like Donovan Mitchell, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, even LeBron James, even though I'm not a big fan of his play style in my opinion. I just don't. But I don't know. People thought he was going to go to the Lakers because of his close relationship with LeBron James. People thought he was going to return to the Thunder because Chris Paul is now there and they're rebuilding. Clippers thought they would need somebody like Carmelo Anthony. I feel like they should have got Sean Livingston though instead of Patrick Peterson. And now it's rumored that Carmelo Anthony will join the Nets because of course, huge problems with the Nets injury wise and this huge suspension. So yeah, this is going to be a rough stint for Carmelo Anthony. I think that he has declined dramatically from 25 point score to a below average 13-point score. And because of his roles on the team getting changed, because obviously his play style doesn't work for a starting caliber player, I feel like this is the best move for Carmelo. It's either stick with going international, try to still push for a shot at being on an NBA team, even if you have to play bench, try to suck it up and see what you can do to help the young guys get better, because that's literally what your play style can be, or just retire. I think you make a lot of money already. Seem to be a smart guy. And you don't like it being too personal with your information, man. You did what you did in the past because you thought that was best for Carmelo Anthony, and I completely agree. If I would skip being part of the Miami Heat and making a lot of money and winning championships to making millions of dollars in New York with a mediocre rebuilding team. Hey, if I would take like 10 million for Miami to get a ring, I would take it other than like making 24 something or 30 something million for a team that's not going to get me anywhere in life. So, more on whatever the hell Melo thinks he can be doing in any other team now. Thanks, like his stock for being a huge free agent has completely plummeted after his disappointing year in Houston, in his super disappointing year that we thought we were gonna have a big three in the Thunder. But the Carmelo Anthony wasn't the only big problem in the Thunder, and we could all know that if we just relook at the season. So that's literally my thoughts on Carmelo Anthony, and hopefully he gets to bounce back, find something that he can get himself happy for. If he can make it back in the league or not, yeah, it would be the best. Thanks for watching.